Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I hope this is finding everyone happy, healthy, and well. So, Taboo Talk Tuesday. All right, had a pop up. Don't know what that was. But anyway, it's Taboo Talk Tuesday. And so, usually I have a theme for these talks. Last week, we really dived into PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, busted a lot of myths, went in depth with, you know, the solutions you have, your options, what PCOS really is. The week before that, we went into birth control, all things birth control. And this week, or today, I've actually funneled in some questions from everyone. So I got a lot of great questions, and I'm just going to go start answering these awesome questions. So if you have any other questions, you can pop them in the comments below. And if I have time to answer them, I certainly will. So yeah, so today's like really a free for all. We're just, I'm just going to be answering all of your questions that I've got this past week. So really excited to dive into those. We've got some great questions tonight about ovarian cysts, IUDs, postpartum health. What else do we get questions about? Why do I get sore boobs? Sore and swollen boobs. I get that question a lot, actually. Remedies for painful periods. I get that one a lot as well. We'll talk about that. Endometriosis. So I got a question about finding a surgeon for endometriosis and any advice I have on that. So really excited to answer these questions. And if you're here, drop me an emoji, say hello, let me know you're here. Love to connect. And as I said, if you have any questions along the way, drop them in the comments box below. All right, so let's get right into this. So the first one, ovarian cyst. I had a lot of women ask me about ovarian cyst this week. So I don't know what's going on in the world, why, this seems to be a really big issue. And I personally understand because I suffered from ovarian cyst. I actually have had two surgeries for ovarian cyst, one of which I almost died. I was in Thailand and I had an ovarian cyst hemorrhage, and it not just rupture. Rupture is very painful, but mine not only ruptured, it hemorrhaged. I mean, it took off a piece of my ovary. It went into torsion and I was hemorrhaging. And so luckily I got to the hospital in time and I required immediate surgery. I mean, there were no questions. As soon as I got in there, they x-rayed me and they did an ultrasound and they put me into surgery. So I know a lot about ovarian cysts. I made it my mission because I was having them every year. I was having these really large 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter ovarian cysts. They were quite painful. And the only solution I was given by my doctor was to take the birth control pill. And I had already been off the birth control pill for like 5 years. I was like, I don't want to do this. Already off of it because of all the problems that ensued. My body just didn't respond well to it. I was like, I'm not going to take the birth control pill. So I really had to find out what my other options were. So that's what we're going to dive in today. I have a lot of you asking, like, what can I do about these ovarian cysts? So first of all, I know they're uncomfortable. I'm very sorry. My heart is with you because I know they can just be quite a nuisance, and they can make it difficult. They can cause bloating. So a lot of times, ovarian cysts can cause extreme bloating and pelvic pain, and when they rupture, they're quite painful. So the first thing is to understand and get to the cause of why the ovarian cysts are happening in the first place. So why are they happening? What's going on? Okay, so first of all, there are a few types of ovarian cysts that are actually quite functional, and they're actually called functional ovarian cysts. And that's because they're a part of ovulation. And ovulation is a function of the body that's normal. It's a healthy function of the body. But what happens with these functional ovarian cysts is two things. So sometimes the egg doesn't leave the follicle. Okay, so we have all these follicles around our ovaries. They enlarge, getting close to ovulation. The FSH and the estrogen cause these follicles to grow. One of them is the winner, yay, kind of like Hunger Games. And the egg pops out and you ovulate. Okay, what happens sometimes is that this egg gets caught in the sac, it never leaves, and then the sac closes and it fills up with fluid and it turns into they call it a corpus luteum cyst. Okay, it's that's when the egg leaves the sac and then the sac fills up, okay, and it turns into this corpus luteum cysts. The second one is when the egg never leaves the follicle. It gets stuck in there, and so it's large and it just turns into the cyst inside your follicle. Those are all because of ovulation. That's why you're having them. So first thing is like, yay, you're ovulating. That's great. Your body's working healthy, is working properly. You're ovulating. That's a sign of health. Awesome. But you don't want to have these cysts around ovulation. And that's why they're really common around women who are, in fertile ages. So why are they happening? So a lot of times this is happening due to certain hormone imbalances. Low thyroid can cause ovarian cysts. And if you went to your doctor and they said your thyroid's normal, maybe ask for a second opinion, because every single client who comes to me in my root cause program, their doctor told them their thyroid was normal, and we discovered otherwise. A lot of women come to me with Hashimoto's. Their thyroid was definitely not normal. So, low thyroid can do that. Hashimoto's can do that. Estrogen problems. So it doesn't mean you have to have too much estrogen. That's false. It could be an estrogen clearance problem, which the only way you can find is on a Dutch hormone test. So, is your body getting clearing the estrogen from your body daily? With estrogen, you want to use it and you want to lose it every day. We do not want it lingering like a bad house guest. So if you have estrogen clearance problems, then these ovarian cysts can happen. These large ovarian cysts can happen. So sorting out your estrogen. There's 3 phases of estrogen detox, so you want to make sure they're all 3 working properly. And the only way you can find out about all 3 is, well, the first 2 you find on a Dutch hormone test. The third phase of estrogen detox you find on a GI map. And then also look at your overall estrogen ranges. If they're elevated as well, that presents a problem, and we need to balance that. That can cause ovarian cysts. So those would be the 2 things that you really want to look into. Thyroid, estrogen, gut health as well also plays a big role in that. So okay, so let's talk. You have ovarian cysts right now and you're watching and waiting, because generally the rule of thumb for surgeons is if your cysts are under 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters, then they watch and wait, right? They don't operate, because sometimes, and a lot of times, they dissolve on their own. They rupture, they dissolve on their own. So what are some things you can do while you're watching and waiting and you're not really that comfortable? Well, castor oil packs. That is a great option. Castor oil packs are amazing because castor oil is the only oil that gets through all the layers of your skin, and it gets into your ovaries, your uterus, and it lubricates them. It increases blood flow, so it breaks up scar tissue. It's also great for digestion. It promotes better sleep, so it's kind of a win-win all around. So when I had the ovarian cyst, so when I had 2 surgeries, because they were, I had issues with the first 2, but after that I did get one like every 6 months for a few years, until I finally said stop and found out the source of the problem, and I haven't had one since. But what I would do is castor oil packs, and that would really help break up the scar tissue, and then my cyst would dissolve on its own. Epsom salt baths are really great for relieving the pain and the discomfort and the bloating, because Epsom salts will draw out excess water, and the warm water will help with pelvic pain. Put some clary sage in there. That's really great for hormone balance. Those are 2 things I would do. Making sure you're getting enough zinc. Zinc is imperative for ovarian health. So making sure that your multivitamin prenatal has enough zinc. Usually, I find that all women have to take prenatals. It's a big fallacy that you have to be pregnant or trying to conceive to take a prenatal. I take a prenatal, and I'm not either, and that's because I'm either of those things, and that's because prenatals are the only ones with the enough of each nutrient. So multivitamins are based on a 2,000 calorie diet, and a lot of us aren't on that. And anyway, they don't have enough. It's like, I think most of them, the vitamin D is like 1,000 IUs, which is not enough. And it's very, magnesium is like 30 milligrams. They just don't have enough. So I take a prenatal. If you have a prenatal, you'll be getting enough zinc. Making sure you're getting enough minerals as well, magnesium. Iodine is not really an issue. If you live in America, you're getting enough iodine. You're probably getting too much iodine, actually, if you live in America, because we use iodized salt in everything. Even if you are like, hey, I don't use iodized salt at home. I use Himalayan salt, sea salt. Great for you. That's awesome. I do too. But everything we eat and all of the stuff is using iodized salt in it. It sneaks in there. So yes, making sure zinc-rich foods, egg yolks, pumpkin seeds, oysters, really high in zinc. So those are really great things that you can do to make sure you're getting enough mineral balance. If a lot of times women on vegetarian diets and vegan diets aren't getting enough of those. So being proactive, I know that I was personally a vegan and vegetarian. So I was vegan for vegetarian for like 5 years, and then vegan for the last year. And that's when I was having all the ovarian cyst problems. I'm not saying that caused it, but it definitely did. I had a lot of thyroid issues, estrogen issues. I was deficient in a lot of things. So, all right. So making sure you're getting enough zinc. Castor oil packs are great ways. And then when you have these ovarian cysts and they're quite, if you feel bloated and you feel uncomfortable, sometimes they can make you constipated. Take it easy. Don't do too much strenuous exercise when they're hurting you. Opt for something more gentle until you feel better. So, but yeah, you have more options in the birth control pill. So I really, really hope that that was helpful in answering that question for those of you who had questions about ovarian cysts. Okay. I also have an article on my blog all about holistic remedies for ovarian cysts. I will link that in the notes below, and that gives a lot of tips as well. Okay, so the next question is IUDs. What's up with IUDs? This person's getting theirs removed, and they're scared to try another form of birth control. So just gonna dive into this just a little bit because I did cover IUDs in 2 talks ago all about birth control. So if you haven't checked that out, you can go check that out. There are 2 types of IUDs. We have hormonal IUDs and we have non-hormonal IUDs. They have like a 99% efficacy rate, so that's great. They're really great at preventing pregnancy. However, with a lot of women, if they work well for you, they work well for you. But for the women, they don't work well for, they cause a lot of issues. They really don't work well. They can cause inflammation. The IUD can get displaced and wander and, perforate the uterus or perforate other organs. And it can cause a lot of inflammation. Those who have a history of autoimmunity might not want an IUD because it's a foreign object in your body, and your body will elicit an autoimmune response. So it could aggravate that. Copper IUD can cause heavy periods. A lot of women get really heavy and painful periods after it's inserted. So basically, if you get the IUD inserted and it's uncomfortable and it's giving these issues, then maybe you want to get it taken out. And if your doctor says, hey, no, 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 give it 3 more months, just say, no, excuse me, I want it taken out. I know that's a big issue with women wanting to get their IUD out and doctors being uncooperative, which is ridiculous. So the two IUDs, copper and then hormonal. So, yeah, I mean, if you have one currently now and you're getting taken out, and you're looking for other options, I really love the fertility awareness method, namely the symptothermal method, and that is using your 3 fertility signs to identify your fertile window. It has a 99.6% efficacy rate, which is almost identical to the IUD. I use the symptothermal method and for almost a decade now, and I have not had any unwanted pregnancies. I chart my temperature, my basal body temperature, and my cervical fluid in my app, and I know when I've ovulated, I know when I'm fertile, and so we have really we can only get pregnant 1 day out of the month, but because sperm can live inside our cervical fluid for up to 5 days, we really give ourselves like an 8-day fertile window. Okay. And there's a great device called the Temp Drop. It's an armband you wear at night. For those of you who are like, hey, hell no, I don't want to wake up every morning and take my temperature. I don't have time for that. I don't get up at the same time each day. I have kids. I don't sleep all night. I'm a shift worker. You can get the Temp Drop arm band and it takes all of that away. You sleep, it doesn't work for you. You wake up, you sync it to your Bluetooth. All right, so that would be my suggestion. Look into that. There are a lot of books on that. Fertility Friday has a great podcast. The Fifth Vital Sign, um, charting, fertility charting on Instagram has a great account to get you started. And my book, The Period Solution ebook, also has a section about how to chart your cycles and how to use the symptothermal method. Okay, so let's see. Why am I getting sore boobs? What's up? What gives with the sore boobs? I feel ya. That is actually a concern. I remember there were a few cycles where, I was getting a massage and I was laying down and I could barely lay on the massage table. My boobs were so sore. And I was like, this is so uncomfortable. And I have women coming to me sometimes like, I can't exercise. My boobs are so sore. So why is this happening? So most of times this is an estrogen clearance issue. Remember earlier in this talk, we talked about estrogen clearance issues. So it's not just how much estrogen you're making, it's is it leaving the body every day. So estrogen is made in the body, okay? And then it goes to your liver. Your liver neutralizes it, turns it from fat soluble to water soluble. Then it goes to your colon and out your stool, okay? And it leaves the body. Bye-bye. You use it and lose it. Now, I see a lot of problems where that doesn't happen, whether it be a liver issue, a liver detox issue, and so the estrogen is not getting neutralized, or whether it be a gut issue, which is phase 3, and the estrogen is not leaving the body through your stool, okay? So you need to make sure you're making the appropriate amount of estrogen, you're neutralizing your estrogen, and you're pooping out your estrogen, okay? If you're not doing all 3 of those, or all 2 of those, or even if just one of them is messed up, you can have sore boobs. Also, I bet you this person who asked is also maybe having migraines, acne, those painful periods that can also happen with estrogen dominance, and not just estrogen dominance. Like you don't have to be estrogen dominant in order to have estrogen issues. Okay, so that is why the sore boobs are happening. Okay, let's talk endometriosis. I've gotten a lot of questions about this, trying to find a good surgeon. And here is my advice for you. So, if you're looking for a surgeon, there are two different types of endometrious surgeries, there's ablation and excision. Okay, ablation, they're using a laser, they're burning off the endometrial tissue like that. Okay, and then you have excision surgeon, and they are skillfully and carefully excising the endometrial tissue. Okay, ablation surgery takes an hour or two. It's very quick. Excision surgery takes it could take 6 to 8 hours, maybe longer sometimes, depending on how much tissue there is to remove. Now, here's the thing. It takes a very skilled surgeon to do excision surgery, okay? And this is a surgery I recommend. You're looking for an excision surgeon. An excision surgeon has to do an extra fellowship. They have to study under an expert. Most OBGYNs, they just are trained in ablation. It's the gold standard, but it keeps people coming back and back for more because ablation, think about it this way. If you have weeds on the lawn, ablation surgery is just mowing over those weeds, whereas excision surgery is digging up the weeds and pulling it out from the root. Kind of like my root cause program. I get to the root cause of your symptoms, and excision surgery gets to the root of your endometrial tissue, and then it is less likely to grow back. Okay. Now, why doesn't everybody do excision surgery? Jenna? Well, that's a great question. I ask that all the time. I'm advocating all the time. My friends over at EF Houston are advocating for that all the time. This is why it has to do with our healthcare system is messed up. And insurance, when they're paying for surgery, well, guess what? The surgeon who does excision surgery and it's like an 8-hour surgery, and the surgeon who does the ablation surgery and it's a 2-hour surgery get paid the exact same amount from the insurance company. So, what do you think the doctor's going to want to do? The one they can fit more surgeries in a day, make more money, see more women. So, most excision surgeons are actually at capacity because they have so many women coming to them that now they don't even take insurance and they're just cash only because they're like, they have too many people. So, it's really a disservice. We need to be, advocating for OBGYNs to do more fellowships so they can, OBGYNs have the fewest hours of training than any surgeon, which blows my mind that OBGYNs I mean, I don't why don't they have to have an additional 2 years of fellowship in surgery than a neurosurgeon or a heart surgeon. Like OBGYNs have the fewest years of training out of all surgeons. Just like take that and think about that. Reflect on that. What does that say about the priority that we have on women's health? Okay. So, I definitely recommend finding an excision surgeon. They are out there. They're not as rare as unicorns, but they are out there. They're becoming more frequent. I know Dr. Guan, where I'm from in Houston, is great. He's currently has a few surgeons under his fellowship. He's making more of him. So that's great. So look out there. Dallas has some. Houston has some. You probably, if you're watching this and you're from a small town or a small place, you're going to have to travel to a big city to get an excision surgery. Okay. But it's totally worth it. And then here's the second component. If you want to keep those results and you want to keep the endometrial tissue from going back, work with a nutritionist in tandem or a naturopathic doctor who has an expertise in nutrition for endometriosis, okay? Because if you don't address the cause, then it's going to keep on growing back, whether you get excision or ablation, okay? You're more likely to have it to grow back. So that's why working with someone like me, functional nutritionist, who does all the right tests, so we can make sure that your hormones are in balance, your gut health is in balance. It will prevent it from growing back, okay? Because even though endometriosis is not a hormonal disease, it's more of an inflammatory disease with an autoimmune component. It is influenced by hormones, 100%, namely estrogen. And most of the women who come to see me who have endometriosis, they have estrogen clearance issues and they have gut problems, okay? And they also have other autoimmune issues, because that's very common for women with endometriosis to have other autoimmune issues. Okay, same thing with PCOS. So, okay, so that is my advice for endometriosis. Postpartum recovery. So, fourth trimester, we shall call it, right? You have 3 trimesters when you're pregnant, and then you have the baby, and everyone's concerned about the baby, and no one cares about the mom anymore. It's really messed up. And the mother is just like literally birthed this child from scratch, and it's this beautiful baby has been taking all of the minerals and nutrients from her. She's depleted. By the time you give birth, your body is depleted. That's why it's very common for women to get Hashimoto's after pregnancy. Very common. I don't know the number right now. Dr. Jolene Brighton talks about it. I think she has a book called Fourth Trimester. So that might be a good read for you. We don't care enough about the mother's health. And here's the thing, I see a lot of times first step, you can't out supplement a bad diet, but the first step is to continue taking that prenatal. Please, whatever you do. I see these women, and as soon as they give birth, they're like, all right, I can stop the prenatal now. It's like, no, fourth trimester, take the prenatal. You need to fill these vital voids. You are 100% deficient in so many things after giving birth. So please take a quality prenatal. Warming foods, mineral balance, bone broth collagen is excellent for all of those. Okay, bone broth collagen can be had warm. You can put it in smoothies and baked goods and soups. It has collagen, which is great for scar tissue. Especially if you've had a C-section, right? It will help with rebuilding that scar tissue. Vitamin E is excellent. Um, Vitamin C is also excellent for that. Extra vitamin C, especially before pregnancy, it really helps with preventing so many stretch marks, and it prevents tearing of the perineal, the tearing that happens when you give birth, right? So sometimes there's a tear. Vitamin C can help with that. Vitamin E oil. And bone broth collagen is my favorite because it's good for the gut health, and it also has an array of minerals and amino acids. So just to make sure you're taking care of yourself, you're eating enough. I know you're probably not going to get that much sleep, and that's just part of it. New moms don't get sleep. New parents, I don't think, know what the word sleep is for probably, 6 months to a year, but you can eat. Okay. Make sure you're making time for yourself to eat, and you can take your prenatal. Okay. So that is my advice for you. Take care of you, okay? Get a support team if you have it. I know that's not available for everyone, but that would be my best advice. Okay. So, and also start charting your cycles, looking for ovulation when that happens again. You can still chart while you're breastfeeding, and be ready for when you do start ovulation, and you can start tracking those cycles, okay? And kind of bring the body back into balance, bring more mindfulness into the body. Okay, and let's see. Oh, yes. Okay, so another one, some remedies for pain, for painful periods, right? My favorite remedies would be focusing on lowering inflammation. So a lot of times we're getting these painful periods because we have too many inflammatory cytokines or chemicals, namely prostaglandins, that cause more um, cramping in the uterus. Okay. And so what we want to do is lower those. So you can't just take turmeric the day of your period if you have painful periods and expect it to work miracles. It's not going to do that. It's turmeric. How it works is it works on lowering systemic. So all over body inflammation, with after you've been taking it for a while. Okay. So if you just want like pain relief in the moment, okay, so an ibuprofen, an NSAID, right? Like ibuprofen or Advil will give you immediate relief. Turmeric curcumin is not going to give you immediate relief. What you need to be doing is instead taking curcumin every day, right? And building up to that healthy cycle. I really like fish oil for lowering inflammation. Magnesium, if you have painful periods, start with magnesium. Take magnesium. Oh my gosh, it's a miracle mineral. Really, it should be called miracle mineral. I like magnesium glycinate. Most people resonate really well with that. Malate's also a great one if you have some joint pain and aches and stuff like that. Citrate is only good if you need help pooping. If you're constipated, you can take some citrate, but don't rely on it forever. It's not very bioavailable. And so those are some good options. So you can take some magnesium. Always check with your practitioner before trying anything new. And focusing on healthy fats, so staying away from processed vegetable oils. Oh my goodness, those are going to cause inflammation in a heartbeat. So staying away from industrial seed oils, not vegetable oils, are really industrial seed oils like soybean, canola, Sunflower in moderation. Sunflower oil is okay in moderation. Okay, like just little bits of it, but it's not that great. So you really, so you want to be focusing on the ones with anti-inflammatory properties with more omega-3s like olive oil and coconut oil and avocado oil and nuts and seeds, okay? Instead of canola, soybean, sunflower. And, if you're eating out, you're getting the industrial seed oils, 100%. Even at fancy restaurants. A lot of times, even the fancy restaurants are like, we're using olive oil. They cut it with canola. So, that's why eating at home, really, just like eating more meals at home, which with COVID, I guess is easier these days. Oh, shoot, I said the word. I hope this isn't flagged. Um, okay. And curcumin, magnesium, fish oil, supporting the guts. A lot of times we have more inflammation because we have too much bad bacteria in the gut that can release inflammatory cytokines that can cause more inflammation in the body. So that's why really focusing on the gut health, which is why all of the patients in my root cause program get a gut test as well as a hormone test. I always start with gut health because you cannot have healthy hormones without a healthy gut. That's why we always start there. And speaking of, enrollment will be beginning very, very soon. So I have 30 spots available for those of you who want to work with me one-on-one this spring in my root cause program. And if you join the waitlist, which I'll put the link into, you get priority on one of the 30 spots. And actually, enrollment's going to be opening up for those on the waitlist before the public. So if you really want to get first dibs, then join the waitlist. And those on the waitlist will also get a bonus coaching session as well. All right, so I hope that this was insightful. I hope that this was gave you hope, gave you some inspiration, gave you some answers, has left you feeling motivated and empowered, because that is the goal of these Taboo Talk Tuesdays. And I look forward to seeing y'all soon. Have a great evening.